It's Matt from The Random Maker, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to use the Kreg pocket screw system to do joints. What's here on the table with these two pieces of wood, and why would I do that? The pocket screw system by Kreg, not sponsored, bought it with my own money, but I just like their products in this case, is useful for any barn or rougher type inspired furniture or anything of that nature. And that's about it. It is a great introduction to use for woodworking or how to learn how to build projects. It is not fine woodworking by any means, but it gets the job done and it can look very nice when planned out properly. It is just a great introduction to woodworking. Also, the equipment required is very inexpensive. So how about this? Let's look into how to use the Kreg pocket screw system. Let's move on. How to attach something like this to this. These are 1.5 inch piece old 2x4s, so excuse the messiness or just how ugly they look on camera. I just want to do a quick demonstration and easy to follow guide on the Kreg system. I'm going to mark where I want the holes to line up because the biggest thing is you want it to come back, and I'm going to take out the Kreg system here. Notice that we can line these holes up right here. You can mark it, but a lot of the times with the Kreg system, you're trying to hide the holes. So this would be like underneath a table or something. And so I'm not too worried about it, how it looks. But if you are concerned, you can mark out your holes right here. Next, we have to set the distance to the thickness of the wood. These are 1.5 inch pieces. So I have both of these stops set at 1.5 inches. And yeah, the system's really easy. That's about as complicated as it gets. You just make sure that your drill bit and your Kreg jig is set at the same thickness of wood, because the screws match up with that. And there is the chart on the Kreg website. I'll probably put the link below so that you can match it all up. It does have the most common sizes of any furniture, which is 1.5, 3/4, and 1/2 inch. And that's kind of like standards. There are others, and you'd have to use the chart to kind of look up what's going to work for you. But in the end, use what works for you. Okay, so next step I'm going to do here is I'm going to take out the faceplate, and I'm going to take the Kreg clamp. Now this clamp vise, I prefer the term vise because that's to me more what it is. And what I'm going to do here is basically put this on the middle part, in the middle section of the Kreg jig. Now, what does that do? Basically, what this does now is, the beauty of this clamp system is it does not worry about thickness of wood. It is all on pressure. So what I'm going to do, very simply, is I'm going to put the vise under here. I'm going to put the Kreg jig roughly where I want it, line it up, make sure it is locked onto the wood where I want it, and then I'm just going to clamp it down. Now, the beauty of this clamp is it does not matter what type or thickness of wood you have. It's pressure sensitive, and you can change the pressure. And so I can take a 1/2 inch piece of wood, 1/4, whatever you want, and it'll give the perfect pressure to what once you set it to what you want. Okay, next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna take this over to the vise because I want to have stable on the table for when I'm drilling. Let's move over there. Okay, so now I have my drill bit set up to 1.5 inches. Very simple, Allen key, move it to the distance. It's got the different marks on there. I'm gonna put it in my standard drill. Don't use impacts for this. These are not, as far as I know, impact rated bits. And all I'm gonna do is vise, clamp, and very simple, drill in. Okay, now when I take my clamp off, I have 2 perfect holes. That's it, really simple. Now, in this case, because of the angle, it hasn't gone all the way through, so you do have to use the right screw size, but that's kind of standard with anything. Make sure you're looking up what the right screw size is. If you're unsure and it doesn't fit your table, make sure you get a scrap piece of wood that's the right thickness. Let's move on to the next step. The next thing you can see here, what I've done is I have clamped down the piece of wood I'm going to be drilling or screwing into. And the reason for that is I'm going to be able now to push into the wood a lot easier than if I didn't. Now, I'm going to take the drill bit that is provided. It's a little longer than normal, that I would say is required, but to be fair, sometimes you might be in awkward places. It's just a standard Robinson, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, so all you have to do is line up the holes. We can see here this pencil mark, and then I'm able to just push. And there we go. Now, if you saw that lift up, this wood is a little old. This was just for demonstrative purposes. If this was, and if you were concerned, you could just, it'll be a lot flatter if it was perfectly flat. Now, this is incredibly sturdy. That's the beauty of the Kreg system. It is incredibly strong, incredibly versatile, but it also just, it works. Now, you can buy plugs to hide this if you have the provided by Kreg. You can cut your own. If you want to use the Kreg pocket screw system in finer woodworking, I tend to use the Kreg for less fine woodworking or stuff you're not going to see, or if you do see, you're not going to care. So like shop furniture or something like that. So yeah, that's the beauty of it. Let's wrap this up. Okay, that's it. It was a super short video because the Kreg pocket screw system, I hate being brand specific, but they make a very good product in this case. Not sponsored, but I like their products when it comes to this kind of stuff. But that was it. And it's quick because it is quick. Now, in front of me is what I would recommend is what you need to use the Kreg pocket drill system. I would not recommend going by hand because that would be, actually need the drill anyway to drill the hole. So yeah, this is what I would recommend as the minimum. Obviously you need a kit. This is the smallest kit I would buy. There are with just one, or go with the bigger kit on here. Just, you'll thank me later on it. Drill, which most woodworkers or even home hobbyists will have. And this is the one extra I would recommend getting, this pressure clamp here. Just remember, don't clamp it to store it. You don't want, it'll put the pressure spring under tension at all times. So keep it unloaded. Okay, well, if you like the video, do us a favor, hit the like button below. If you want to see more content from the Random Maker, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to give us suggestions or projects or even new challenges for joints, because I've done a lot of different joints when I was in trade school, but there are some I can admit I have not either done or haven't done since then. Like dovetails, I don't think I've done since university or trade school, whatever you want to call it. I have a weird degree. Yeah. So anyway, how about this? How I like to wrap up every video. This is Matt from the Random Maker saying until next time, let's get making.